My name is Jeremy Cesip. I'm in Santa Rosa, California. I've been building bikes since 1992 for 24 years now and produce about 100 to 150 frames a year. This is my gravel bike, cross kind of touring bike that I built for myself for this show. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to ride it. It's decided to use this type of handlebars, which is kind of a bar that I designed with some friends. And it's made by Nito. And it's my version of a mustache bar, so it doesn't quite sweep out as much as a mustache bar, but it still uses road levers. And basically it's got the rack mounts on front and rear for full touring, capable of pretty big tires and disc brakes. It's made out of steel. This is true temper tubing. It's a little different than other frames. I use coins to cap off my tubes, so in the rear end and then the front on the fork as well. Yeah, so has quarters. So it's a little 50-cent rebate on the fork, 20-cent rebate on the frames. And as far as parts itself, I'm working with Chris King. Actually, was their 40th anniversary parts kit, and that's what's on this bike. So basically, it's built around a cross type geometry between cross and road. Most of the riding I do is more gravel type roads, fire roads, and basically this is kind of built around that. So somewhat similar to a road handling bike, a little slower, and it definitely made room for the bigger tires. And one thing about the flat bars is because I normally take my bike on gravel roads and more fire roads than I do, it's probably going to be more 70 to 80% dirt. This is a 43, 700 by 43. It's kind of a new tire that just came out, so they were sampling it out to some of the frame builders here. So I'm curious to try it and ride on it. I did want to do internal routing, so I have a hydraulic brakes going into the down tube and spits back out here. And definitely wanted to use a kind of a road Grupo, so this is on full Ultegra. So that was a little bit of a challenge trying to get these big tires to fit with a standard, standard Q factor bottom bracket. And a lot of times when you try to fit a big tire in a road crankset, a lot of times the cranksets end up hitting the frame. So I didn't bend the tubes. That's why I'm able to clear a road crankset. Because as soon as you go with a S-bend stay or a wider stay, a lot of times you have to use an aftermarket crankset or a mountain bike crankset. So this one I had to do a pretty big dents on the chainstays to fit these tires, but I was able to make it fit. And then the through axle is kind of a new thing. It's got to becoming a standard with disc brakes. So this is a 12 mil through axle fork that I had to fabricate for this particular wheel set, and a 15 mil rear. So it's standard. It's also through axle rear. So it's just kind of becoming a standard, I think, with more road or cross specific disc brake wheel sets. It's becoming more through axle, and for some reason they're doing 12 mil in the front now. Or actually, it's not a 15 mil in the rear. I'm sorry, it's a 12 mil in the rear as well. But they're both through axle. This is basically an all-around bike, so it's going to be my touring, gravel, everything. Yeah, so it's definitely made to fit front racks, panniers, or a platform type rack, and the rear is definitely meant to put. I left the eyelets on here and right here, so basically a pretty standard, rear rack to put panniers on. Yeah, so this is definitely an all-around, touring / off-road bike. There's a state park right behind my house called Hood Mountain, and it's where I love to take my cross bike. It's pretty challenging. Starts with a 5-mile ascent, 5-mile climb on road, and then it's all gravel after that. And it does a big about 15 or 20 mile loop, and it's been really fun on a cross bike.